What's up, you guys? Jalen Hawk here, as always, for weekly anime manga reviews, and I am here with another Tokyo Ghoul related video. So, I don't really plan on making a whole lot of Tokyo Ghoul videos, like, in the upcoming weeks. I do want to spread out my content, like I said before, but a lot of people have been asking me for a long time now, even on my second channel, on me making a video about Tsukiyama. So here's the video, and I'm finally going to discuss him. Now, this isn't going to necessarily be like a character discussion like I did on my old channel, where like I kind of made my quote-unquote analysis videos, where it was just like a general character discussion talking about like what their abilities are, how they've changed throughout the course of the story, all that stuff. This is going to be more focused on literally Tsukiyama's character and even his overall mind state throughout the course of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 and also Tokyo Ghoul Re for a little bit during the event of the Rosewald arc / second Tsukiyama arc, or Tsukiyama Raid, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, now Tsukiyama Shuu in a lot of ways I feel like is either underappreciated by the fandom, not necessarily in the sense of like with Mutsuki, where I feel like you either come across people that either hate Mutsuki or love her. More on the lines of I've seen a lot of people whenever I ask them about Tsukiyama, whether it's like in person, because I do have a few friends that have seen Tokyo Ghoul, like watched the anime and have read a little bit of the manga, or if I'm talking to someone on Discord or via just asking you guys in general. I haven't really met any people that dislike Tsukiyama. For the most part, people are either like, oh, I think he's alright, he's kind of weird, but I think he's okay, or they love him. It's kind of I haven't seen very many people dislike Tsukiyama, if not any. I can't really think of a person. Maybe I'll find out today, who knows. But Tsukiyama, right? Tsukiyama, in a lot of ways, like I said before, very unappreciated by the fandom because, surprisingly enough, when people talk about like some of the most developed characters within Tokyo Ghoul, Tsukiyama is rarely ever mentioned. Now, I'm not saying that Tsukiyama is top 5, but I do believe he is definitely top 10, along with several other characters that happen to be kind of minor when it comes to playing in a role, when it comes to the, not necessarily minor, like minor in the grand scheme of Tokyo Ghoul, but major roles when it comes to development of other characters. For example, Akira Amato, very prominent character when it comes to the development of Toka and also Amon, and even in some ways Hinami. But within herself, she is very well developed as a whole, but a lot of people don't seem to really acknowledge that about her. Tsukiyama is also kind of one of those, not necessarily one of those characters, but Kane, for example, right, happened to be a very prominent character when it comes to developing Tsukiyama, but she's very much not appreciated by the fandom. And I feel like when it came to Kane and Tsukiyama's overall relationship, their duality, the way how they're very similar to one another, and they also Kane went so far in order to protect Tsukiyama and help him grow and bloom as a character. It's kind of sad that a lot of people don't really bring her up and don't really acknowledge her too much as a person. So yeah, but besides that, Tsukiyama. So Tsukiyama, his character arc throughout the course of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 and also Tokyo Ghoul Re, I have to admit is definitely a very good one. Now, I will say that the payoff, like Mutsuki's, wasn't that great, but it wasn't as bad as Mutsuki's, where it's like, wow, you just sank this ship. Like we're going up, Ashita, alright? We're going up, and then like we just go down. But Tsukiyama, it's just kinda like it goes up, kind of stands still for a while because Tsukiyama is just like on this blank path during Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 for a period of time, and then it's like it shoots up again, and then we see him once again interact with Kaneki, and it's just like, damn, like you kind of dipped a little bit, like what, like why would you do that? But you could have done something really good, but obviously that's not the route that the story was going to, so I'll get into that at the end of this video. Now, going back to what I was saying before about Tsukiyama and his overall development throughout the course of Tokyo Ghoul Re, you have where Tsukiyama's dynamic with Kane and seeing the way how he was with the end of Part 1, or from the beginning of Part 1 to the end of Part 1, is actually quite interesting. It's definitely one of my favorite relationships within the Tokyo Ghoul story, seeing the way how Tsukiyama interacts within the people of the anti-Aogiri group, including Kaneki. It's really cool because Kaneki, or Tsukiyama, right, he showcases a lot of signs of OCD, more on the lines of like the mini category of OCD being ROCD, relationship obsessive compulsive disorder. It's kind of wild because Tsukiyama has this very strong relationship with Kaneki, this obsession with Kaneki, solely due to the fact that he wants to eat him. He wants to eat. Okay, to put it in the way how Tsukiyama phrased it, right? This is so wild. This is so stupid. He wants to eat Kaneki while Kaneki is eating someone. Like you have to be so messed up to think of something like that. Like it's so weird, but I love it. I love it. I love everything about Tsukiyama. But back to what I was saying before, right? You have where Tsukiyama, right, is like he's obsessed with Kaneki to the point where he's stalking him, he is following him around, he's even manipulating him and kind of like leaning him, like luring him into his den. And he finally gets the opportunity to do so, and he's unable to. Not because he isn't, like he didn't want to. More on the lines of Toka and Nishio, and yeah, Toka and Nishio became involved, and they prevented from Tsukiyama even doing that. Toka ended up defeating Tsukiyama, and then the arc wraps up. Now, throughout the course of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1, though, after the events of the Tsukiyama stuff, you have where Tsukiyama, right, he joins Kaneki's anti-Aogiri group, and he ends up becoming the right-hand man to Kaneki. I guess you can kind of say in some ways the two wings for Kaneki, or the right-hand man and the left, like the arms to Kaneki. I guess that's like the best way to put it. Banjo and Tsukiyama. Tsukiyama and Banjo, though, didn't like one another, which I thought was very interesting. Tsukiyama only cared about Kaneki, even to the point where during the events of, I believe, Kano's lab, the raid of that arc, you have where Tsukiyama actually threatens to kill every single one of them so he can be with Kaneki by himself. So, yeah, it's kind of weird because his obsession with Kaneki kind of, even though he sort of wants to eat him while he's eating someone, it kind of changes to respecting Kaneki as a person, what he believes, what his mindset is, and his overall power. And in some ways, Tsukiyama is almost like the perfect embodiment of what exactly a right-hand man or someone, a follower, should be. How a person obeys their king. And it's very funny that Tsukiyama, of all people, has that mindset, especially when you consider what Tsukiyama comes from. Tsukiyama in his own right could be a king. Now, not necessarily in the same way as you think like the One-Eye King or even a king of like royalty, but Tsukiyama's family is very rich. They have a lot of influence when it comes to the overall government of Japan and the overall business standpoint of Japan, or at least Tokyo. And you have where Tsukiyama, his family is, or like his family as a whole is pretty big. And then you have like his house is big, and he has a lot of servants that are working under him, butlers, maids, etc. Kane happens to be one of those people, part of the Rosewald branch family to the Tsukiyama main family. And you would think that someone of that high power, of that high of an heir, would not work under someone, but Tsukiyama does. And I find that actually kind of interesting and kind of beautiful in a way, where Tsukiyama's overall mentality and his overall, I guess, love and obsession to Kaneki kind of forces him to no longer have the mindset as if he's above other people in order to work under someone. Like, it's really weird, but it's also kind of interesting at the same time. Now, besides that, regarding Tsukiyama, you have where this kind of all wraps up in, well, not necessarily wraps up, well, wraps up in a way when it comes to the overall ending of the Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 manga, where Tsukiyama does eventually encounter Kaneki, and he is defeated by Kaneki when Tsukiyama tries to interfere and prevent Kaneki from moving forward and fighting alongside of Onteku, and even in some ways potentially dying beside them. And that's what you have where Tsukiyama was scared of, because Tsukiyama for this entire time was following behind Kaneki, he was listening to everything that he did, and once he realized that Kaneki was going to fight in a situation, his goal was leading him to fight alongside Onteku, in a fight that Kaneki's not even sure that he might win. And Tsukiyama realizes this. He's like, all of CCG is here. Well, not all of it, but a vast majority of CCG is here. A lot of the top dogs are here. Shinohara, Kuroiwa, Hoji, even Arima. They're all here. You're probably not going to come out of this alive. And what does that mean for me? The person that I've been following behind the entire time is no longer going to exist. So my original plan, that's kind of like the only thing that Tsukiyama really had left to fall back on. Tsukiyama does admit and say, like, if I can't have you, no one can. I'm just going to eat you right here and now. That isn't really how Tsukiyama truly felt. It wasn't that Tsukiyama really wanted to eat Kaneki in that situation, because I feel like Kaneki or Tsukiyama let go of that mindset after Kaneki became white-haired. Once he saw Kaneki once again with a different mentality and a different mindset, and you even have where Tsukiyama says that pledge where he's like, "Allow me to become your sword and cut through the thorns of bushes that surround you," and Kaneki's like, "All right, sure, but if you try to go against me, I'm just gonna kill you." Tsukiyama's like, "Ooh, spicy!" Like, like it's a great scene. But you have where Tsukiyama, you see him like after Kaneki defeats him. You see this in Route A, and you also see this within the Tokyo Ghoul manga. Tsukiyama is upset. He's not, it's not like depression on the lines of like, oh yeah, I wasn't able to achieve my goal, like, shit, or anything like that. Like, no, he was visually upset. He felt bad about everything that had happened, and you can tell when he was just begging Kaneki not to leave him and to stay there with him. Not necessarily on the lines of like, oh yeah, I want you to bring me with you. More on the lines of, I want you to stay here where I know you would be safe, because if you go out there, I am not strong enough to help protect you. Not that Kaneki really needed the protecting from Tsukiyama, because by that point in time, Kaneki was vastly stronger than him, but more on the lines of, you're my friend, you're someone that I really do care about, and I don't want you to get hurt, and I don't want to be in a situation where I never see you again. So, yeah, it's kind of sad. But besides that, one thing I kind of do want to say that I feel like a lot of people tend to forget, and I kind of brought this up a little bit when it came to like my video where I was talking about like the top 5 people that love Kaneki the most when it comes to the women and also the men. Tsukiyama is one of those people. A lot of people tend to undermine this, but if you make a top 5 list of the closest people to Kaneki, Tsukiyama's on the list. I would probably say, as long as I'm not forgetting anyone, I don't think I am, I would say it would go like, I guess like Hide and Toka are both number 1 for their own various reasons. Hide's more on the lines of because he's Kaneki's best friend, and Toka's on there because he's like she's Kaneki's lover. And then right after that, I would say Hinami, and then Tsukiyama. Like, he's up there. I would say, like, Nishio's probably, like, not that much under Tsukiyama, but Tsukiyama's on the top 5 list, along with, like, some of the other Quinkx squad members, like, Saiko and Mutsuki and Ure, those original ones, not counting Shirazu, because to be entirely honest, even though we know that Shirazu and Sasaki were close, I feel like we didn't really get to see the relationship as much pressed on with them as we did with the other 3. But anyways, now the final part of this video that we should probably talk about is most likely the development between Tsukiyama and Kane throughout the course of Tokyo Ghoul Re. Now, this in my opinion is probably the biggest character arc that Tsukiyama has throughout the course of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 and Tokyo Ghoul Re. I feel like this is where Tsukiyama's development really does get hammered down, and it really does make Tsukiyama question his overall loyalties to his own family and also to Kaneki, and it also does make him question whether or not the mindset that he originally had when he was falling behind Kaneki was necessarily the right one. Because you have where Tsukiyama's put in a very bad predicament where Tsukiyama went and fell into depression during the event of the Anteku Raid arc. After finding out that Kaneki supposedly quote-unquote died, Tsukiyama fell into depression. He was eating wildly. We don't know if he was eating ghouls or humans. You can presume possibly both, in which, mind you, the Tsukiyama family, because of inbreeding, is unable to develop a Kakuja. Not necessarily sure why that is. I don't think we're ever going to get an explanation. I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense, because that does happen, I believe, like, if people inbred, because, like, a lot of weird mutations can happen. For example, I believe Down syndrome is one of, like, the biggest, like, if you have, like, for example, incest, right? Which is a really weird thing that I'm bringing up in a video, but let's talk about this for a brief second. Incest, like, if there's incest within the family, there's a higher chance of you having a kid with Down syndrome compared to 2 people that are either like completely far apart in the family line. Because, like, if we're being honest, I'd imagine since the human species has existed for so long, we're probably all related in some type of way, but like very, very far apart. Or like 2 people that aren't related to each other in some type of way, the chances of them like having like a mutation within their like family gene like that is very rare in comparison to a family that has incestual breeding like the Tsukiyama family apparently did. So whatever. Which kind of ties back to the whole entire king mentality thing, because the Tsukiyama, because like kings back in the day, like back in like medieval times, used to kind of like keep the family blood pure by marrying like their cousin or someone in their family tree. So yeah. Besides that, I went on a completely different topic. Let's talk a little bit more about Tsukiyama. So Kane, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is like a distant relative or a cousin to Tsukiyama. And Kane happens to kind of be sort of the linchpin for Tsukiyama during the event of the Rosewald arc. She's kind of the thing that keeps Tsukiyama together to a degree, as well as Tsukiyama's potential meeting with Kaneki once again. Because you have where Kaneki, right, lost his memories and does not remember Tsukiyama. He's Heisei Sasuke, the investigator, the first class investigator at the point in time. And you have where Tsukiyama is trying to get Kaneki to kind of remember everything. Now, by the end of the the Tsukiyama raid arc, you finally get to the point where Tsukiyama and Kaneki are face up against each other. And I think Tsukiyama said something on the lines of like, God, this whole situation is like really fucked up. Like, I think it was something on this lines, or like my life is real fucked up. It was something like that. I can't remember. I believe they say that in volume 5, because I have volume 4, and that's kind of the main reason why I'm even doing this video to begin with, because I just read it. But you have where Tsukiyama ends up realizing that it's his fault that all the stuff that's going on currently happened with that happened with his family is kind of his fault. The fact that because of him and Kane, the fact that he's kind of forced Kane indirectly to gather all this information on Heisei, as well as Chi and also himself going out there and making themselves public and doing all this crazy stuff, it's caused CCG to end up, coming against the Tsukiyama family and realizing, yeah, they're most likely ghouls, and it just made a very, messed up situation. If it wasn't for Tsukiyama, Matsume wouldn't have died against Furuta. A lot of investigators and humans probably wouldn't have ended up being in this situation. Like, trying to think, like all the members of the Tsukiyama family, pretty much with the exception of Memorio, I think that's Tsukiyama's father's name. Hairu wouldn't have died. Nora wouldn't have died. Shirazu, several other people. And it's kind of all Tsukiyama's fault in a really weird way. And you have where Tsukiyama kind of accepts all of this and decides, yeah, maybe I should probably put my foot down and put my feelings aside to the whole situation and fight Heisei, even if it really does end up killing me, whether it's literal or the fact that I have to take the life of someone I once did really care about. And that's one thing about Tsukiyama that I find very respectable. And he ends up doing so, and he even gets thrown off of the freaking skyscraper by Kaneki. And, you have where Karen or Kane ends up sacrificing her life for Tsukiyama to live. And, all of that's good and all until we see Tsukiyama once again, after the events of Rue Island, obviously, when he fights against Ui and I believe, I forgot his name was, Fuka, I believe his name was, the guy from Tokyo Ghoul Jack. And you have where Tsukiyama, he finally sees Kaneki again. Kaneki's now the One-Eye King, and he has that whole entire meeting. He's like, oh yeah, this group from now on shall be called GOAT. And it's like this really badass scene. And you have where Kaneki and Tsukiyama meet up once again. And, Kaneki's kind of like, oh, Tsukiyama, I'm kind of sorry about everything that had happened. And then Tsukiyama's just like, oh, it's fine, chap. Like, let bygones be bygones. Let's just, push all this shit down the river. Like, it's fine. Like, just let it go down under the bridge. And it's just like, I get that's in your character to a degree, about, like, Kaneki, like, you care about him a lot to the point where you even care about him more than you value your own life. But, like, Kane was someone close to you. Like, tons of people that were in your family that you did clearly care about because you decided to fight for them instead of fighting for Kaneki, in that situation. Like, it almost seems like all the development that Tsukiyama had by the very end of the Tsukiyama arc was kind of like washed over and just like tossed away, and it was just like, it just sucked. I didn't like that, but I'm not saying that Tsukiyama had to hate Kaneki, but I kind of feel like that there should have been a little bit of conflicting emotions towards towards Kaneki from Tsukiyama, because like we saw this within Go anyways with other characters. Like Kurina didn't originally want to work with Kaneki. The only reason why she worked with him was because they had like a I guess a similar end game. They both wanted to deal with Kano. You even have where Takizawa didn't even want to be part of the group. It's like, yeah, you know, I'll work with you because, yeah, I want to save Akira too, but after that, I'm out. Same thing with Amo and Akira. They didn't want to work with Kaneki either. Like, yeah, we'll work together for a period of time, and if you need help, you can depend on us, but I'm not going to be part of your group. So, I'm not saying that Tsukiyama had to leave, but I'm just saying, like, his feelings and his emotions should have been conflicted, and we also see this later on when Tsukiyama is actually the saving grace, right, to the entire dragon situation, where all these people are being like super selfish. They're like, look, you know, did the One-Eye King abandon us? He's doing this all for us, right? Blah blah blah, like all this stuff. He failed, you know, all this like BS. And you even have where Toka's like sulking and crying to herself and all this bull crap. And you even have where, you know, Itori even kind of like not yells at her, but kind of scolds her to a degree. And you have where Tsukiyama's just like, shut the hell up! Like, he just screams. And it's like this great scene where he's like, why is it that I'm the only one that actually loves him? And why is it like that I'm the only one who can see, or that wants to see Kaneki happy? And it's just like, it's this really emotional scene, and it's just really sad. Like, Tsukiyama is just a sad character, and he's definitely one that I really do care about. So, besides that, that's kind of all for this video. This video is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Ended up being almost 21 minutes. And yeah, what do you guys think of Tsukiyama? Do you guys like him? Do you guys hate him? What's your guys' thought on him? But do you guys agree with me when it comes to the Tsukiyama thing about him pushing all the stuff under the rug? Did you guys like that, or did you hate it? I personally wasn't a fan. I didn't hate it, but it kind of bugged me a little bit. So anyways, that's all I have for this video. If you guys want more character discussions, just comment down below who you want me to talk about. And it can be from Tokyo Ghoul or any other series that I talk about, I guess. And yeah, so anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Remember, comment, subscribe as always, guys. I love you all. JML Hawk, signing out. Bye, guys.